Welcome to day 10 out of our Christmas stories. Tonight's special story is called The Nutcracker, written by an unknown artist. One snowy Christmas Eve. Let's turn this off. There we are. Much better. Now let's begin. One snowy Christmas Eve. Guests arrived at Clara's house for a party. She had just placed the sugar plum fairy on top of the Christmas tree when suddenly the door blew open. A mysterious man appeared, and Clara ran to hug him. It was her godfather, a famous magician and toy maker. He'd made all the children special dolls, which danced as though they might actually come to life. As the children played, Clara's godfather whispered, "I made this one for you." It was a nutcracker shaped like a toy soldier. It was even more lifelike than the other dolls. "Take care of him. He's magic," said Godfather Drosselmeyer, and Clara thought she saw the nutcracker smile at her. But Clara's brother Fritz wanted the nutcracker for himself, so he snatched it from Clara's hands and threw it on the ground. Crack! Tears streamed down Clara's face as her beloved nutcracker broke in two. "Don't worry," said Godfather Drosselmeyer. "Put him under the Christmas tree. He'll be fixed by morning." Then he whispered something quietly to the toy. After the party, Clara couldn't sleep. "I hope my nutcracker's okay," she whispered. So she tiptoed downstairs and curled up under the Christmas tree beside him. Just as her eyes began to close, the clock struck midnight. When she looked up, the Christmas tree seemed to be growing taller and taller. Or was Clara actually getting smaller and smaller? Suddenly she heard a pitter-patter, and an army of giant mice scurried out of the shadows. Then someone familiar appeared, and a voice said, "I'll defeat the Mouse King." It was the Nutcracker. He really had come to life. "Charge!" The Nutcracker ran towards the giant mice with his army of toy soldiers. Boom went their candy cannons. Clara thought the battle might never end, until she saw the Nutcracker looking tired. "Oh no, Fritz really did hurt him," she said to herself. The Mouse King crept up behind the wounded Nutcracker and raised his sword. "No!" gasped Clara. She took off her slipper and threw it at the giant mouse. He wibbled and wobbled. Then he fell to the ground. Bump. "You saved me," said the Nutcracker. In a flash of magic, he transformed into a handsome prince, and he and Clara were standing in an enchanted forest. "I must show you my kingdom to thank you," said the Nutcracker Prince. There we are. As shimmering snow fell around them, the snowflakes came to life. "This way," sang the snowflake ballerinas, and Clara followed as they toiled between twinkling pines. Soon Clara smelt the sweet scent of candy floss. Then she saw a beautiful palace made entirely out of delicious treats. "Welcome to the land of sweets," said a fairy named Sugar Plum. When the Nutcracker Prince explained how Clara had saved him from the Mouse King, Sugar Plum clapped her hands and swished her wand. "We must celebrate." Inside the palace, performers took to the stage dressed as sweets from all around the world. The chocolate sweets leapt, the coffee treats swirled, the candy canes jumped and pranced, the tea dancers twirled on the tips of their toes as the sugar flutes skipped and swayed. Suddenly, Clara heard the beat of drums and the toot of horns. Then Mother Ginger burst into the spotlight. Her beautiful ball gown swished up beneath her as she danced around the stage, and her 8 gingerbread children appeared from under her skirt. What? Next, it was time for the flowers to perform a waltz. They fluttered around in circles dressed in pretty petal skirts. Clara had never seen so many dazzling colours before. She stood to clap as the waltzing flowers disappeared behind the curtain. Sugar Plum performed the last dance of the show. She seemed to float on air as she leapt across the stage. As she pointed her toes and pirouetted, just like the ballerina in Clara's music box. "She's so graceful," whispered Clara. After Sugar Plum took her final bow, she called Clara and the Nutcracker Prince onto the stage. "I declare you rulers of the land of sweets," she said, placing 2 golden crowns on their heads. Soon it was time to leave, and with a sprinkle of fairy dust, a sleigh magically appeared. "Goodbye, thank you for a wonderful evening," called Clara. Everyone waved as the reindeer took off into the night sky. The land of sweets disappeared below them, and snowflakes began to swirl. Clara yawned. "Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat tonight." And her eyes started to close. When Clara woke up, she wasn't in the sleigh. She was underneath the Christmas tree. It was back to normal size, and it was Christmas Day. Then Clara remembered everything the Nutcracker Prince had shown her in the land of sweets. But where was he? Clara looked around and breathed a sigh of relief. "Whew, there you are," she called. The nutcracker that Godfather Drosselmeyer had given her was exactly where she'd left him on Christmas Eve. Just as her godfather promised, he was good as new. "Happy Christmas," whispered Clara. That story was called The Nutcracker. See you tomorrow for day 12.